Hi, and welcome to the series where our team at BDAP Nordics dives deeper into the B Corp standards. My name is Helena, and I'm the community coordinator here at BDAP Nordics. So, the impact topic I guide you through today is government affairs and collective action, or in short, GACA. This is one of the 7 impact topics that a company must engage with to become or remain a certified B Corp. So, as you might know by now, the B Corp standards are all about encouraging ongoing impact. That's why the standards are built around continuous impact improvement. And here you can see that companies are expected to meet certain requirements in year 0 and then take further steps in year 3 and again in year 5. So here's a quick visual of how that works. Yes. And before we dive into the topic itself, we also included a company size table here. So if you're not sure whether your business is considered micro, small, medium, large, or something else, now's a good time for you to pause and check this. The company size is determined by either the number of full time equivalent workers or your annual revenue, whichever is higher. Your size determines which requirements apply and when, so it's really a useful reference to have in mind for you. All right, so with that sorted, let's get into what government affairs and collective action is all about and how your business can play a role in shaping a fairer, more sustainable economy. So, why does GACA matter? Government affairs and collective action is about the broader influence businesses have on policy, regulation, and collaboration to drive long term impact. GACA are key to driving positive systemic change. As corporations influence global policy, their role in advocating for social responsibility and fair practices is critical. Looking at what does GACA require? The standards establish minimum requirements for companies on external stakeholder engagement, focusing on collective action, advocacy, and taxes. So, GACA 1, the company takes a responsible and trans approach to lobbying. So, if a company is engaged in lobbying or advocacy, they must lobby for policies that create positive social and environmental outcomes based on scientific data, anti corruption principles, and transparency in dealings with intermediary organizations. GACA 2. The company works collaboratively to advance collective social or environmental impacts. So, companies must engage in multi stakeholder collaborations and contribute to collective action efforts, such as policy advocacy, external research, and mentorship to amplify their impact. In GACA 3, the company takes a responsible and transparent approach to taxes. So, companies here are required to have responsible tax policies and practices aligning with the GRI tax standards and adopting country by country reporting to enhance tax transparency. So now let's break down the essential of GACA to understand each of these 3 building blocks. GACA 1. The company takes a responsible and transparent approach to lobbying. So first of all, lobbying is a set of actions taken by a company to influence public policy. This includes financial or in-kind contributions, participation in lobbying groups, and collaboration with third-party lobbying organizations. So, all companies, regardless of size, are required to have a public policy on responsible lobbying in place from year 0. This means we don't require companies to lobby. So, if you do not lobby, you can still meet the sub requirement by declaring this publicly. But we want to engage companies to the extent possible to engage with government officials or with the public to advance laws with a positive impact. So if you do lobby, you must share a clear written policy on how you lobby responsibly, including approval by your governing body and public access to it. For example, lobbying actions could include meeting with government officials, starting a petition to pass a law with a positive environmental impact. GACA 1.2 and 1.3 require a company to publicly share its lobbying positions and political contributions each fiscal year. Okay, so we agree that lobbying is often perceived with skepticism, and that's often the case when it is done in secret. then it can also really undermine democratic values. But B Corps can really help redefine lobbying as a transparent and values based practice. So let's dive into GACA 2, collective action. So this requirement focuses on how the company collaborates with others to drive collective social or environmental impacts. This requirement, as you can see on this slide, scales by company size. For example, micro companies take one collective action, while larger companies take up to 4 collective actions. And there's also a difference in the rigor of these collective actions required, as larger companies are likely to have a bigger network and resources. So let's have a look at what these options for collective actions could look like. There's mentoring other companies in your industry to advance their social or environmental impacts, for example, through training, sharing knowledge or expertise, or providing feedback. Another option is contributing to external research, which aims to create a positive impact on society or the environment. So, research initiatives outside of the company's own research, for example, data sharing with a university or a nonprofit organization. Another option for collective action is multi stakeholder collaboration. So, when companies work with multiple stakeholders outside the own company, industry associations, for example, by developing industry specific guides, building a shared infrastructure. Another option is public policy advocacy. So, engaging directly or indirectly with government officials. That's also what we talked about in GACA 1 already. Uh, and the last option for collective action here is thought leadership on systemic change. So companies share their expertise and insights to inspire action. For example, you can teach or give guest lectures, speak at public forums. So it's all about speaking engagement that reaches large audiences outside your own company. Let's have a look at GACA 3. So this is on Texas and supports fair contributions for the development of local social infrastructure companies. So GACA 3 only applies to XX large companies, and we require them to commit to a responsible tax policy and to publicly report their tax payments. In doing so, companies can reinforce their contribution to tackling social and environmental challenges. All right, so I hope I was able to break down the government affairs and collective action impact topic for you. As you could see, it's really all about harnessing the power of business to create positive change beyond your own company walls. And whether that is through transparent lobbying, collaborative initiatives, or through advocating for responsible tax practices. And now, for those of you looking to take the next step, I really encourage you to explore the EEB Impact platform. That's where you can dive deeper into the standards and track your progress and impact also. You can also visit our website to find more information, find our events, but most importantly, you can watch our other videos where we dive deeper into the other impact topics of the B Lab, B Corp standards. And finally, if you've got questions, reflections, or just want to discuss what this means for your company, we'd love to see you at our next open office hour. It's a space to meet the B Lab Nordics team, connect with others on their journey, and get inspired. So thank you for watching and have a good day.